There's not much more to talk about than we talked about on Tuesday, because the only thing you have left to do is your final exam.
The assessment. Yeah.
And then the career integration, the final assessment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done the discussion yet.
No, I'm falling.
Okay.
I'm falling behind, but I'll get it done.
Yeah, I know you will.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about you. So go ahead and get that done.
Absolutely.
And get all that work done. The assessment, let's take a quick look. The assessment, oh, come on, cooperate.
No problem.
The assessment, I believe you can do, yeah, you can do multiple attempts. So, and I think I corrected a couple of errors in it. If you,
oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I went through and took a look at the questions to be sure they were all relevant, and found one that I tried to justify the answer in the key 3 times in 3 different ways and couldn't, so I corrected it. So, because when that happens, that happens.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back over this null hypothesis stuff again, just briefly.
Okay. Yeah.
And take a look at how it's used. So the issue is that the null hypothesis assumes that, remember, that the sample mean is the same as the population mean within a certain level, okay? Within a certain, certain little bit of variation that comes from just sample variation. And the alternative hypothesis says that there is at least one sample that is significantly different from the population mean. And this indicates some problem with the data. So basically, with the null hypothesis, you have 2 choices. You can either accept it or you can reject it. Okay, it's sort of like a jury in a trial. The prosecutor's null hypothesis is that the person the accused is guilty. It's the jury that has to decide whether or not the evidence supports that, whether or not they believe the prosecutor's null hypothesis. And so they deliver a verdict of either guilty, which means they agree, or not guilty, which means they do not agree. And notice that not guilty does not say innocent. What it says is that there is not enough information to accept the null hypothesis. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. So that's really what that is about. Pardon?
Oh, sorry. There's such a lag. I think that's a good metaphor.
Yeah, I think it is too. It gives us something that most of us have at least seen in movies or on television. And if we're fortunate, we've never experienced any of it in real life or had to sit on a jury. But I sat on a jury criminal trial one time in North Carolina. Three prisoners escaped from the county jail in where I was living and kidnapped a policeman and stole his car.
They kidnapped a policeman?
They also disarmed him.
Oh my gosh.
That sounds pretty like pretty open and shut, right? We
Yeah.
So they stole his gun and aimed it at him. So they committed assault. Fortunately, no battery. They didn't actually shoot the cop, but they committed assault by pointing this gun. And we found two of them guilty of breaking out of jail, kidnapping the policeman, and stealing the car, but not of assault, because there was no evidence that those two had actually pointed the gun at the cop. So it was really crazy.
Yeah.
And it made me understand just how convoluted these things can get. And I didn't know, I didn't think about it in terms of null hypothesis when that happened. I thought about it more as a bizarre experience, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what we can do is really look, and there's this isn't going to appear on your final, but one of the reasons that we look at this sort of analysis, this hypothesis testing, is we look at our samples and we actually make some calculations as to how far away from that mean some of the samples are. In other words, basically what we do is we calculate standard deviation of the means of our samples, and then look at how far away the sample would have to be, how far away from the mean to actually be 2 standard deviations away. So that's convoluted, I know, and it's not something that will appear on your final, but that's how we make use of that sort of thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's why we do this hypothesis testing, because quite often we don't really have all the information that we need to say that something is true or not true. And remember that a type 1 error is rejecting the null hypothesis when it is actually true. And a type 2 error is accepting the null hypothesis when it is actually false.
Okay.
And an example I ran into was an example of an author of a text that I have at home was asked by his college dean to actually do some investigation, because what he had heard, and this is back about a decade ago, is that his students would graduate from college with an average of $4,100 in credit card debt. And at current interest rates, that can be pretty nasty, especially a decade ago. So he asked for that test. And so the example was, okay, so the null hypothesis is that indeed the mean credit card debt of students is $4,100. And the alternative hypothesis, or the alternative hypothesis is that there are going to be a group of students who will have significantly different credit card debt from the $4,100. And you'd expect that, I think, to be the case, because there would be, some people are going to have more and some are less, and your sampling just might have accidentally identified groups of people with unusual levels of debt, either higher or lower. And so so the null hypothesis would state that the average debt is $4,100. And so you can either reject that, and that's what the dean was doing, was actually saying, I don't believe that. So ask the statistician to do some checking and analyze that statistic. And so, in the story I read, he never really said what the result was, but he went through and did some calculations and did some sampling, and used that as an illustration of how we can we can have some sampling errors, that where many of the samples that you take fall within the presumed population mean, and others may fall outside. And so that was what he was talking about. So that's really what this hypothesis testing is about. Is our hypothesis correct? And in science, we do that all the time. We decide that something is going to happen if we do a specific action or a specific treatment or mix two chemicals together, whatever, and then we test it and see if it happens. And so our hypothesis, so our hypothesis is that X will happen. If X does not, then our hypothesis was wrong. It was not what we would expect to see if we did the experiment 100 times, say. And I can tell you from experience, having been a chemist, you can do the same experiment 100 times, and you are most likely going to have one or two of them that absolutely fail to give you the same result that you get all the other times you do it. And that's just random chance, random variables that you didn't take into account, or perhaps, and as a chemist, perhaps I had a bad batch of reagent. It's sort of like putting a bad batch of oil into a car. You don't expect to do that. You expect the manufacturer, if they're delivering 10W30, you expect it to be 10W30 and not something else.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
But it does happen. And other random things happen too. Like one time I had the oil changed in my car. I picked it up and I got home and I smelled oil. And I thought, what's going on? And they'd forgotten to put the cap back on the filler. And the oil was vaporizing out.
Yeah.
I gave them a bit of what
type of
for over
vehicle
that
do you
one.
have?
Pardon?
What type of vehicle?
I have a Subaru Outback. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
They were putting in that 0W or that 0W20 synthetic oil.
Yeah. It's got one of those H motors that are, it's like a pancake motor, so it's flat. I bet you it was just spewing out oil.
Yeah, it was quite a mess
terrible.
on the inside of the engine compartment. I
yeah.
took it
Did
back
you take
down
it back?
and
Make them clean it?
Oh yes, I went down there and they cleaned it. I was not about to allow that to happen because it was a brand new car. Hello, Katie.
Yeah. Did you lose your oil cap?
Thank you, Katie. See you tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, everybody's getting ready to head off on vacation here. Anyway, so
oh yeah, it's the last day.
That, those are the kinds of things. That really was what I wanted to clarify because I thought I was so tired Tuesday night. I don't think I did a good job of explaining that.
Yeah.
So, do you have questions, Jessica?
No, I think I did really well on the midterm. So I don't think I should have too many problems.
Good.
I mean, I get this hypothesis stuff in the type 1 and type 2. It seems pretty concrete now.
Yeah, good.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's all pretty solid.
Good. Well,
I have to get that discussion post up tonight.
Yeah, go ahead and get that done tonight. Get everything else done by Saturday and we'll be done and you can have a couple of weeks off to relax and enjoy your child and your friends and everything else around you.
Yeah, I've got to take care of some business stuff. I got a lot of stuff to take care of. I just got stuff piling up on my plate.
Yep, I can understand that. Yeah, we'll be doing some stuff too. So I don't have a whole lot more to say right now. You can always reach me by email, but I need to get out of here. I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning Mountain Time, so I'm kind of wiped out.
Oh, Mike. Oh,
well,
yeah.
It's a long day traveling from the East Coast.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad your travels went well and everything. I'm glad you're safe and everything.
Yeah.
But that's hard on your body being up so long.
It is. And miracle of miracles, both of my flights were on time. Takeoff on time, landing on time.
Good.
And I flew through Chicago, which is, you can almost always depend on Chicago to be a disaster. But it wasn't.
Yeah. Good.
So I managed to get here exactly on time, and so I need to just go home and start unpacking and get some sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, time to rest.
Yep. Okay. Well, I will see you on campus next mod. Have a good holiday. Have a good Christmas and New Year's.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll have some time off with family and friends.
Thank you so much. I really hope your Christmas is good too, even with everything going on. I'm so sorry that this was a hard time of year to lose your father.
Well, thank you. It is. It's a hard time of year to lose, anyone. I thought about Kyle a bit as well, and thought, yeah, it's a tough time of year to be losing family members, or actually anyone else. But it's been an interesting experience trying to get things done. We won't be able to bury him for at least 4 to 6 months. So
yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is, but that's what happens when you're dealing with, the premier national cemetery. So.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
So we'll,
I
sometime
still hope your Christmas is good.
Oh, I'm sure it will be. I intend for it to be very relaxed.
Good. Good.
And quiet.
A break.
So anyway, so take care. And
thank you.
And I'll talk with you. I'll see you on campus next mod, I'm sure. And I hope your truck can get better.
Yeah. I've got a good work crew and a lot of people at work that have compatible parts. I'm going to steal a hood from one of my coworkers and steal a radiator from another one of my coworkers. So I think we'll be okay.
Oh, that sounds good. That's great to have coworkers that are willing to help like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great that almost everybody drives a GMC truck. So it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's even better. I know they're common, but there's still lots of other varieties.
Yeah, yeah, yep. If I still had my Jetta, I wouldn't be able to trade with anybody.
Yeah, that's the truth. Have you seen the pictures of Elon Musk's new truck?
Oh man, yes, I have. I seen a video of a Ford F-150 just eating it, just smoking it. It did nothing to this electric powered truck. It looks so funny. It is the funniest looking truck I've ever seen in my life.
It is. It is. It
I'm
looks
not sure.
more like a World War I tank to me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, with that scoop, I don't know. It's definitely odd. It's new.
It is that. You know, you got to give the guy credit for being at least original.
Absolutely. You know, and I really do give the guy a lot of credit. He's made a lot of failures and a lot of successes, and he's really stuck through his failures. I definitely admire him a lot as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I do too. He just is he's an interesting guy. I'm not sure I'd want to
Yeah.
work for him.
Yeah, might be a little unstable.
Well, you know, when he puts in 80 hours a week and expects everybody else to do the same, I hope he pays
Yeah.
them well.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of
They
exciting with
better.
all of his different things, not just Tesla, but SpaceX too. You know, it's kind of exciting
Yeah.
work. So we'll have to see
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah,
I saw a commercial
he's
for the
definitely
new
an up and coming
Audi
guy.
electric car.
Really?
Yeah, and
Mm.
apparently it has at least a 500-mile range.
Wow. That's
Yeah, that
impressive.
brings it up to competitive, at least in terms of range.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and
I heard that Volkswagen is trying to do this huge electrical push. They even have these commercials out now for just encouraging electric technology. Like it's not even a product that they're showing. They're just like electric is the new way.
yeah,
And Volkswagen is the parent company for Audi, and I think more. Volkswagen's a huge company, I think.
oh, it is. It is monstrous. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's kind of interesting to see what they're doing. I've seen another
Yeah.
couple of concept cars. Um, I saw a by accident. My son-in-law videos and produces television shows of automobile races in Australia. And so
I think I remember you telling me about that. That's pretty dang cool.
yeah, if you're ever interested, it's Blendline TV, BLENDLINE TV, is his YouTube channel. So, but
Okay.
he produces some really interesting stuff. And because we look at that, then of course, good old Google is showing us all sorts of things to do with cars. And one of them
Yeah.
was, I can't remember what she calls herself. It's some British woman that, um, you know, thinks she knows a lot about cars, and maybe she does, I don't know. But she spends more time trying to look good than I think she should if she's showing off cars, but that's her business. But she showed this
Yep.
BMW concept car that was just astounding.
Yeah.
It was various materials that would change and morph into other things. The tires would actually expand out from the body a little ways. It was really, and there's several things, you know, lots of touch controls where you simply swipe things and all sorts of things happen. But it's a BMW concept car that is really unusual.
Wow.
And
I'm gonna look that up.
yeah, and I can't remember what she calls herself. I want to say it's something or other blonde. And so, of course, you know, first thing you think of is this some sort of bimbo? And unfortunately, she comes across that way. But you know, she also wears a ton of jewelry, so she's got money out the gazoo. Um,
Oh, yeah.
but she does have, you know, that BMW was worth looking at. We saw another one for a might have been a Lamborghini that was absolutely unimpressive by comparison. I mean, Lamborghini's in
Really?
a class it's by itself, but this particular model, after watching the BMW, it was sort of like, who'd want that? Especially for $2.5
Maybe they
million.
should go for it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't have
So
that
anyway,
money.
but you know that there's just a lot going on, and I know that there, you know, every company has concept cars that never hit the market. Um, and I've had friends over the years that worked for both Ford and GM, and they used to, you know, talk about the concept cars they worked on. Um, and some of them had some pretty amazing features, but you look at them and you think, well, the price tag's out of the range of most of us.
Yeah.
So
But there's
what?
people out there that are in that price range.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
There's so many people
sure,
though that are into luxury supercars. Oh, they'll
yeah,
spend all kinds of money, more money than their house, more money than ugh, I couldn't even
yeah,
imagine having that
yeah.
kind of play money.
I can't, and I can't imagine spending $2.5 million on a car. I'm sorry.
Me neither.
My
Yeah, there's no way.
my
Better be able to live in it.
yeah, my socially responsible self says that that's just wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's frivolous.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to go home while I can still safely drive.
Okay, definitely. And drive home drive safe going home too.
I believe me, I will. I want to get there in one piece, and with my car in one piece.
Yeah.
So, so I will see you in a month or so, whenever you're back on campus, a few weeks from now. And I'll look forward to seeing you. It's been good to have you in class again. I'm sorry that it had to be the long distance version.
It's all right. I'm glad to have you as my teacher. I appreciate all your help to the statistics course.
No, I am glad to do that, Jess. Anyway, I'll let you go, and I'll see you next year.
All right. Well,
Okay.
have a happy new year and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too, both.
Thank you. All
Okay.
right. Drive safe. Bye.
I will. Bye, Val.